All right, we are live, and let's see. Let's wait a little bit. I want to get the before we start rolling. I want to let some guys get in here.
Get some shares going for us. I'm about to hit share.
Yeah, y'all go ahead and y'all do us a favor and hit the like and share button for us.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Always helps y'all. Kind of an ugly game tonight. I mean, boy. I hope y'all are staying up late with us to commemorate our misery tonight.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a fired up show and a lot to talk about tonight. Y'all bear with me. I want to make sure we get this all out to everybody. Mm-hmm. Usually we start talking, and I want to give some guys an opportunity to. We got started early tonight because we knew y'all would want to get rolling as soon as we can, and let's see what else we got. One more. All right.
So, just for y'all here in the lobby, I want y'all to start naming some losses that might have been harder to watch than this one tonight. Now, I'm not talking about like painful. Like, I think obviously the Auburn loss a few weeks ago, that one was just, that was bad. A real bad, ugly loss. But this was just a hard game to watch, wasn't it? I mean, both teams looked god awful. I mean, I've legitimately watched high school games where the quality of play looked better than what I saw tonight.
Well, and here's the thing, and you know, I think what's a good part of this is your and I's age difference.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
you weren't alive during, or what's your earliest recall? Do you remember the DiNardo years at all?
Yeah, a little bit. The end of them.
The end of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I was very
But
young,
you don't know who Curly Hallman was, and
no, Curly Hallman got hired the year I was born.
And I'm not comparing Ed Orgeron to Curly Hallman.
No, it's not there.
I'm just
yet.
talking about bad. I'm talking about bad football where.
I remember some ugly games against Notre Dame in the DiNardo era and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, even the DiNardo era had some ups though that I remember. I think he went 10-2 one year, and you know, if he had just gotten rid of Luke Tepper, he might have had a successful run. But
y'all hit the like, share button, and please do me a favor. Let us know if how our audio sounds. I think everything is 100% go for us. But yeah, look. All right, well let's officially get it rolling here. Of course, we're brought to you our post-game show every week by Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law, Shreveport, Louisiana. We're going to talk about him more later in the show. Love having him as our sponsor. He's the official attorney of law firm of TigerBait.com. Absolutely brutal loss tonight. You know, I tweeted out that worst offense I've seen this century. And of course, everybody immediately brings up the 2011 national championship game. And look, that's a whole different animal. First of all, Texas A&M's defense isn't Alabama's. And I'm also referencing in the entire body of work offensively for this year's team. The offensive line, I mean, look, you had some good players on that LSU football team in 2011. And whereas this year's team, and I'm just talking about the offensive unit, I think every unit on that football team needs an overhaul except for wide receiver. And biggest issue, of course, is the offensive line. I don't want to rip on TJ Finley all that much or Max Johnson. These guys are true freshmen. You can go back in time and talk about Jamie Howard having to play as a true freshman. You can talk about Jarrett Lee having to play as a true freshman, and on, and what the catastrophic events that happened to a bunch of LSU quarterbacks in history, what that did to their futures as quarterbacks, and so forth. And so I don't want to rip on those guys too bad. They're put in this position, and they shouldn't need to be in this position, which goes back to something we talked about in the preseason about Miles Brennan. We didn't know how durable he would be.
That's right.
He wasn't durable.
He wasn't.
And now you're in this situation.
Well, you know, one of the things worth noting here, this is what you expect out of a true freshman. I mean, when you say true freshman quarterback running out there, you should expect to see what you saw tonight. That is what your expectation should be as fans, because it's usually not pretty. A lot of those guys you named, by the way, like Jarrett Lee, when he played and had his struggles, That was after a year under his belt. He was redshirted. I mean, freshman means struggles. I mean, we've seen a handful of guys like Johnny Manziel, Tebow, whomever you want to talk about. Those are outliers, okay? 90+% of freshman quarterbacks are going to struggle mightily. I remember early in the season, one of my takes is that, look, you got to protect Brennan at all costs. Because if Brennan goes down, the drop-off this year will be greater than the drop-off would have been the year before. Because Brennan could have gone in there last year, and I think he would have done just fine. They might have still won it. This year, the drop-off has been substantial, and it's really, really starting to hurt. Brennan had 11 touchdowns. 11 in 3 games, and since then, we've only had 6.
I'm going to tell you this. Look, there's a lot to break down on this LSU team, this particular team, the effort tonight. I want to say one thing, though. The defense, no issues with them.
Oh, man.
That group has nothing to be ashamed of. All the 3 and outs. What did LSU end up on the night? 2 for what on third down?
Oh, goodness. Give me 1 second here. It was good on third down. I'll tell you that much. Third down, 2 of 16. You know what's funny, though? On offense, LSU also went 2 of 16.
No, yeah, but I'm talking about going into this game, you knew LSU needed to run the ball.
Yeah.
All we talked about was how Jimbo Fisher was going to win time of possession. At the end of the night, both teams had 267 yards of total offense.
That's right.
We know there's a lot to indict about LSU, but if you're an Texas A&M fan, I'm sorry. This is something I tweeted out tonight. If that's the number 5 team in the nation and they end up winning out, but sitting at home while Alabama plays in the SEC championship game, and somehow they were to backdoor their way into the playoffs, they are a first. They're a semifinal blowout for whoever gets them.
Oh, whoever gets them. I mean,
they are. If that's the number 5 team legit in the nation, then college football is hot garbage. And right now, I don't see anybody that can play with Alabama. I mean, I've just watched enough of Alabama.
I don't know. I think this year there's 3 teams.
Don't bring up Notre Dame.
No, not Notre Dame. There are 3 teams, in my opinion, who are heads and tails above the rest of the country.
I don't see anybody beating Alabama.
You might be right, but I'm going to tell you this. Ohio State, they're really good. Okay, yeah. I'm going to tell you this. Clemson with Trevor Lawrence, they're right up there. So those are the 2 teams.
I'm after what I've seen some Trevor Lawrence that I'll take Mac Jones right now.
Ooh, boy, that's saying something.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you this.
I'm not as high on Trevor Lawrence as everybody else been. It's been a love affair with that guy for several years.
To me, there are 4 teams in college football, and that's your 4 teams in the playoff. It's the 3 I just named, and then Notre Dame will make it in, assuming they don't trip up somewhere along the way. But that's it. That's the college football season. It's determined that we will have Alabama. We will have Ohio State. If Ohio State doesn't lose another game because of COVID, they have to. If they don't play one more game, they're ineligible.
Aaron Abu-Johnson, defense was good tonight. That's off, no doubt. Aaron.
Oh yeah.
Look, Bo Pelini and that group. You cannot fault them. They had a great game plan. A&M's is very light on receivers. You knew that Stingley would take care of that one side of the field, stop the run. Spiller, of course, did get that big run and a few other nice runs. But for the most part, the defense was spectacular. I think the linebackers performed well. They were getting rush off the edge with Ali Gay. They were getting a nice push up the middle. I think Jaquelin Roy's come a long way. B.J. Ojolari played a good game. I think there was a lot to be excited there with the defense.
Yeah,
and the offense didn't do them any favors. I mean, they were on the field a lot, and it was just like when it was raining, it was pouring. Of course, it was raining when they had a great defensive stop, and it's like you're watching that entire football game, and you're like, if you weren't really paying attention to the score, you were thinking, man, LSU's just this is a blowout.
Yeah,
and then you're looking up and you're like, man, 1 score and they're back in this game.
Yeah, that lasted until TJ Finley gave up the pick 6.
Right.
I had a lot of hope that LSU would somehow put up a score and then another score, and who knows. But it just was completely broken. So comment by Kenneth Haynes here, our sponsor tonight, of course, as you can see. Finley has a problem reading defenses. I think that's true, and it should be true.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a true freshman.
He's a true freshman.
He's not. He wasn't ready. They invested what little they could this offseason because of limited time practicing and being together with COVID. They invested it all in
Yeah, I mean, he
Miles
basically
Brennan.
came in from Ponchatoula having to learn everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Mike Smith comments, we need more O-line recruits in this class. This should be, I think offensive line's been very disappointing this year.
Look, it's one of those deals where, I'm talking about Chase and Hines earlier. Think about Chase and Hines as a true freshman and how good we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
And then he gets hurt. Now he's overweight. And you just go down the line and look, I mean, I saw Ed Ingram tonight just not putting out some effort on some plays.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole lot of disappointment on the offensive line. The running game, I'm immediately looking past this season. It is what it is. And you're like, okay, what's going to be there in the spring? What guys are returning? Who do they convince to come back? And it's like, it's not like you can completely overhaul that offensive line, and it's not like you can look at freshman offensive line recruits and say they're immediately going to step in. I mean, because then you can create a whole lot of new problems if you're expecting multiple true freshmen to start on your offensive line next year. That makes next year even more is just as much of a throwaway as this year. So
at a certain point, you got to look at it as a lot of people like to talk about quarterback development. What about offensive line development? I mean, you're getting guys in, and they're really not getting much better from the time they stepped on campus.
I mean, are we going to throw James Craig away? I mean, he had the Joe Moore Award last year.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people.
It's like we're all of a sudden going to say all these coaches stink now and they can't teach.
I'm just telling you. I mean, there's a lot of guys. You're pointing them out. Ed Ingram, Chase and Hines. Are they any better?
No,
than they were as freshmen?
But I also think it's too. It's like, okay, well, we just saw the Australian who's at the Snow College in Utah, the JUCO offensive tackle this week. Is that to go on top of the guys that are already on the board? And how good is he?
Yeah.
People are saying he might be the number one JUCO offensive lineman in the country. Okay, well, Badero Traore. I mean, LSU hasn't exactly had great success with junior college offensive.
JUCO offensive linemen tend to not pan out, from what I've noticed. It just isn't a thing. I mean, usually if you're a good offensive lineman, you don't find your way out of JUCO. Hey, I see a really good comment here from Gregory Price. Why was the TD call overturned? I looked at it from a few different angles, and maybe a little bit after he hit the ground, it was bobbled a tiny bit. I thought that was hot garbage. I thought that was an awesome catch, and I really do think that might have been the cost. That might have cost LSU the game, because at that point we're talking 10-7. Okay. The very next play, TJ Finley throws that interception, which, by the way, if you look on the replay, that looked like a drop on that interception. It actually bobbled off the ground at the very end there.
But there was no way you could reverse it. There was no angle that could prove that.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you.
But that was par for the course. And then you bring up that scenario, just like the LSU defense, having a great defensive stop, and then the punt. Coy Moore's screaming to get out of the way. It brushes the player and they recover.
Yeah, I mean
it was like that all night.
Could not catch a break.
Snake bit.
Could not catch a single break. In my opinion, TJ Finley, after that was overturned, he was done. Yeah, and the stats back that up.
Chance Babin, Monda's garbage. Can't believe he beat us twice. Yeah. Man, look. It's one of these deals where, and I've got some Aggie friends and. Look, I didn't buy into Texas A&M before COVID. They thought this was their year. I think Jimbo Fisher is running the same offense he ran in 2005 at LSU. I don't think has anything modern in that offense at all. I think what we saw tonight was no different than a Les Miles football team in the way they play their football, and they're not gonna get to the next level. And what's his name? How do you say his last name?
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
Now, he's had some questionable takes.
He is horrible.
You know, every time I see him, the only thing I can think of is him running out of the back of the end zone for the Detroit Lions in 2008. Remember that 0-16 Detroit Lion team? He was the quarterback of the 0-16 Lions. Like,
I think he is just like you see on news networks where they're having to do 24-hour news and they have to have big staffs and there's not enough really good talent to have enough staff. It's the same thing at ESPN. He is terrible, and how he got a primetime game with the number 5 team in the country is beyond me. He's horrible.
You know what really stings is seeing a lot of really good sports journalists losing their jobs right now with COVID and stuff like that. You know, like Adam Kramer at Bleacher Report lost his job recently. A lot of good sports media professionals losing their job. And there's some people out there who keep their job, you know, with all sorts of questionable stuff going on.
Kenneth Haynes, not sure what got on a fly tonight, but he was terrific. Absolutely.
He was very good.
The defense, I mean, look, they didn't play a perfect game, but they've made progress. And you got to give them credit. And particularly tonight with the offense not doing them any favors. They deserve a lot of credit and kudos. But the offense, you know, I say it's the worst I've seen this century because I'm factoring in everything else I've seen and then knowing what they're going to be facing in the coming weeks. I think statistically at the end of it all, it's going to bear out. And, you know, I was having Chad Loop, Jesse Daigle. I'm not throwing guys under the bus that are middle-aged now. But, you know, I was having flashbacks to the 90s, and a lot of you who are my age or know what I'm talking about. And
look, 2 notes on that. One, Flott, he does very well when the spotlight's not on him. He's good at the third corners. And tonight we had Ricks and we had Stingley, who were those 1 and 2 guys. Flott does not do well when the pressure's on him. When those two have gone out and he's had to step up into a big role, that's where he struggled.
LSU is going to, the number I was told is 10 midterm grads, enrollees, new recruits. And I'm pretty sure Corey Kiner is one of them. I need to double check that one. We know Garrett Nussmeier is a midterm grad. Tristan Lee is a midterm grad.
But they got to get him.
If they can get him. Battling Oklahoma and others, Ohio State. January 2nd decision for him. And look, I think at all these positions, running back, where's the marquee running back there?
None.
But also you've got an offensive line that contributes to that.
I really do think these guys are all serviceable. I think the offensive line has just struggled so mightily this year.
I just think.
So let me tell you this.
You open up spring football and you let Garrett Nussmeier come in. Yeah, he's a true freshman, but you say nobody's got a lead. And you do the same thing at running back. If Corey Connor's there, same thing. And, I mean, you basically got to just put a serious jolt into the entire culture of the LSU football program. And I do think whether it's retirements or whatever, I think there's going to be multiple coaches that are going to be that you're going to have new staff members. I just believe that's going to happen. And not we'll see how it plays out.
Well,
you know, look, there's people on Twitter, you know, cursing Ensminger. And I'm like, okay, well, let's say Ensminger were to retire. What do you do at Linehan? You think Linehan's going somewhere? Linehan might be elevated to offensive coordinator.
Oof.
And if you talk to, you know, there's fans at different places he's been, and they weren't sick when he left wherever he was at.
Well, I don't know. A lot of Cowboys fans weren't happy.
Now, of course, he's you know, he coached Doug Nussmeier, Garrett's daddy, and coached with him at the Dallas Cowboys. So,
you know, one thing we're talking about coaching changes I want to point out. You know, we've been talking all year about Bo Pelini, despite the struggles, is 50-50 to come back next year, right? I mean, that's been...
I don't know. 50's low. I don't see how he's going anywhere. Well, where would he be going?
Well, I mean, they would have... I mean,
you're $80 million in the hole.
Most fans want him gone. And yeah, that buyout now.
Now tonight after this performance,
Yeah, I think that's
and
might
they
have
have been
saved
in
his
the
job.
last game. They were getting better.
I think they're going to point to this game in Arkansas, and they're going to say, look at the players we had to field. I mean, we've said it all.
Of course,
year.
now you got Alabama and Florida up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so the numbers are going to.
So hear me out. So I think most fans desperately want him fired. I think tonight he showed a very strong performance. I think last week they did an okay job, although there were 5 or 6 players you'd like to have back. If he does anything that resembles having a heartbeat against Florida and Alabama, I think it's very likely he could save his job. But I think that combined with financial issues, I think we're having to swallow the pill. Bo Pelini will probably be your defensive coordinator next year.
I have no. At no point this season did I think Bo Pelini's got to go. That's a fan thing.
Yeah. I mean,
there's issues personnel-wise, defensive front seven.
I won't debate you on that, but I've also had some issues with some scheme things he's done. I think he's not really changed much on his scheme. I have some issues with the scheme. I do feel for him because maybe a lot of the stuff he's doing could work if he had the right personnel, but I mean...
And I also know that he's what Orgeron wants. Orgeron wants a 4-3. He was getting aggravated with some of the stuff Aranda was doing.
So we'll have to see on that. I mean, and look, I think Bo Pelini, when he was the coach back
I just know one thing. You don't want to lose Bush to anywhere. And, we'll see what happens with defensive line. But I think the defensive line's going to get better. I think they're about to have some new linebackers. I think Savion Jones, who... Man, I'm telling you, I'm looking at my top list of recruits for this year.
He's real good.
And, there's somebody who's been number 1 there for a while. And I'm tempted on Savion Jones.
He's real good.
Okay, I think
High.
that kid comes in and plays and gives value immediately.
Day one?
Yeah,
what
no,
position?
I'm not defensive end.
Okay.
Yeah. Alligay on the other side, him on the other.
Okay, over B.J. Ojulari?
Ojulari, yeah. I think Ojulari's going to get moved.
Okay. To what, linebacker?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Good outside linebacker. I'm going to tell you this.
But either way, they'll be able to swap them.
Micah Bakersfield.
I want to see how big
really
Ojulari is this time, how much weight he puts on.
These outside linebackers have had a lot of trouble getting to the edge, especially Damone Clark all year. And Micah Bakersfield had some issues. Tonight, he had no such issues. 12 tackles for him. So, real good night. Forced fumble, too.
Thornton had a nice, saw him make a few nice plays.
Yep.
Tonight, please do me a favor, do us a favor, like and share this video on your Facebook timeline. Those of you watching this on YouTube, please do the same. Tonight's show, of course, is brought to you by our friend Kenneth B. Haynes at Weems, Schimpf, Haynes, Shermwell, and more, a full-service Shreveport law firm. Kenny is the only lawyer in the state practicing outside New Orleans that is board certified in appellate practice and family law. Kenny has been board certified in family law since 2004, has been board certified in appellate practice since the inception of the specialty in 2017. He has 30 years experience representing individuals with their litigation needs, family, personal injury, commercial litigation. He's a founding member of TigerBait.com, one of our absolute best message board posters, and been with from day one, and he's a great friend and a great legal mind. Kenny's firm has successfully cared for people's legal needs since 1983, and he's an LSU Law School grad, class of 1989. Give him a call, 318-222-2100. In the description box, I have a link direct to his page on the law firm's website. Check him out. If you're in North Louisiana, anywhere north of Alexandria, all the way to the Texas border, to the Mississippi border, Monroe, Shreveport, he's got you. Divorce, personal injury, the works, commercial, family law, he is your guy. Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law in Shreveport, and got a fancy, what do you call that, National Registry? That house, that old house. One day I'm gonna get up to Shreveport.
I mean,
I want to see that house. It's beautiful.
It's pretty. I would call that a plantation style home.
No, but
I'm not sure that's PC anymore.
No, but it's got a green roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Cool comment here from Mike Smith. Max Johnson should be the starter going forward since he can escape the pass rush better behind our garbage O-line. Who do you think starts next week? You're playing Alabama.
I think you give Max a shot.
I mean, in my opinion, so let me read the stats real quick to y'all. So Max Johnson, 14 of 22, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. TJ Finley, I don't think many of you realize how bad his stats are until I read them here. 9 of 25 for 118 yards and 2 interceptions. I mean, those are night and day difference. I think Max Johnson is a more conservative option. I haven't been very critical of the offensive play calling this year. I think they've been pretty limited with losing Miles Brennan. They almost ran like a Tebow style package. Remember that drive in the first quarter? They had him in, and they had like 2 designed quarterbacks. What were they doing?
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I know Max is a better athlete and can run better than TJ, but it's not like he's faster than Joe Burrow, and it's not like he's much faster than Miles Brennan.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not a speed guy.
I mean, he's quick, but he's not even Joe Burrow. I don't know what they were doing with the offense.
I don't know what he would run in the 40. Is he 4.7, 4.8?
Maybe I'd say 4.9. I mean, 4.9 is a lot faster than people think. It's pretty fast. But I mean, I just don't understand what they were doing. It seemed like later in the game they kind of got it. They were a little more conservative with that, and he played pretty well, I think. I think he's the safer pick at this point, but you hate to roll a kid against Alabama for his first ever start.
Well, what are you going to do? They're both battling. It is a home game.
I mean,
pick your poison. Has there been some times where they maybe wanted to go with Max, but said, you know what, we're going to play them both. Let's go ahead and just stick with TJ. And, I don't know.
I think TJ all year has made just enough plays to keep himself as the guy. And today he ran out of that, the timeliness of that. One thing I got to say, why are you running either of these guys? You realize you're 2 hits away from Zach Von Rosenberg being your starting quarterback? I mean, come on now. I mean,
Pat Mashburn. I joined the discussion late, so if this has been repeated, I apologize. No, it hadn't. What impact, if any, would there be with Orgeron's chastising of Finley towards the end of the game? Man,
you know what?
I don't know what I'm mixed on that.
It's football.
Yeah.
You know how many times I got my you-know-what chewed as a football player? Come on.
Look, I'll say this about I think TJ can take it. I think he's thick-skinned, and he was coached by Hank Tierney at Ponchatoula, who can get after you. So I don't think that's anything new to him. Could there have been a better way to do it? I don't know. I was really hoping if he was yelling at him, it was more like, get your head back in the game. Don't let this bother you. But no, that wasn't what he was yelling about. It was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Throwing the ball in the middle of the field when we're backed up. Get rid of it.
I think that was legit anger too, because that play cost LSU the game. I mean, that was brutal. So a couple interesting comments. Mark Towery, Finley was 3 of 16 after starting 6 of 9, and that's right about the mark I was telling you about, where that touchdown got taken off the board. I think mentally this team has struggled all season long. Once something bad happens to them, they don't get their heads back in the game, and I think that was a good example of that.
Well, that's a whole leadership thing, and who are the leaders?
Is Brennan out for the year? That's from Kenneth Haynes. If it's probably going to be the whole year.
I think he's done.
I mean, it was looking like could be close that he'd make the last couple games if he healed miraculously fast, but I'm not hearing anything of that. I don't even think they're even thinking about him for next week.
Yeah, Larry's saying, please get rid of Linehan. That was one of the deals when, look, Garrett Nussmeier was LSU the whole way. There was no doubt that he was not going to commit to LSU. And then when Brady left and Linehan got the job, it was like, okay, it's going to be any day now that, he makes a decision. He does. I don't see Linehan going anywhere because of the relationship with Nussmeier. Mm-hmm. But I almost maybe that's a gravy call. Because Garrett Nussmeier has been favoring LSU for years anyways. He was born here.
He's born in Lake Charles.
Yeah, his mom's from Lake Charles. I mean, this is, he always calls Louisiana his home.
Not to mention, by the time you make a move, isn't he going to be signed? Isn't the ink going to be dried already? I mean, that's going to be a done deal.
Yeah. I mean, he's.
I just, look, y'all, with the financial issues, I think they're going to have to be very selective with whatever changes they want to make this year. And they have to understand a lot of these guys on payroll have a championship ring on their resume. I mean, they're really not very far removed from being the greatest team of all time. And you have to understand a lot of those guys got them there. You know, I understand there's new guys, and those guys are going to get thrown under the bus very quickly. But a lot of those new guys have lofty contracts. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, there's you know, and that's why I keep going back to the Pelini thing. Even if, and after the night and the way they played against Arkansas, and look, what if, you know, what if, you know, Alabama only beats LSU 35-17 or 35-14. Maybe they get an extra score on the board. You know, and the defense puts up another good effort. You know, it's just kind of like, man, this whole Pelini stuff, between the money you owe him, the budget restraints, coaches and the whole athletic department taking, what is it, 5% or more?
Well, yeah, 5% if you make above $75K for the entire athletics department.
Yeah, you had layoffs, over $80 million in the hole. They're not. Even if the defense gave up 800 yards, I mean, look, someone was going to ante up the money. But
which, by the way, talking about those 5% pay cuts, to me that sounds a little when you think about Robert Munson, who was in charge of that marketing team and communications team at LSU and had a huge role in all those social media videos, the hype videos everybody liked so much last year. Yeah, they sent him packing, you know, and it's like, to me, if you had done 10% or something like that for these millionaire coaches, you could have saved a guy like him job. So
Greg Price, if CEO gets implicated in sexual assaults, he doesn't survive. You know, that's, you know, they've got a investigation into it, and what do they say? They'll have that wrapped up in February. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, I think there's several names that are involved in that thing. That are, you know, employed by LSU that I think are going to have a tough time holding on to their jobs or should be worried. I don't know that Ed Orgeron is one of them, but we're going to find out. They're going to, you know, this isn't something that's going to get brushed under the rug, or this is some serious stuff, no doubt about it. Wayne Clark, I don't think it's the scheme. I think the young guys are starting to grow up. I do too.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Part of it.
I'm not a. Like I said, at no point this year that I think everything that I've seen with LSU is Jims and Joes. It's plain and simple to me. Kenneth P. Haynes, he's got a good paragraph here. There are a good many things that need fixing with LSU football, and it's going to be challenging to overcome. Funding, continued COVID restrictions. NCAA breathing down the neck. That's hard when you need to replace both coaches and players at key positions. Look, LSU needs to finish out this recruiting class in a strong way. Offensive line obviously is the focus. Savion Byrd, Tristan Lee. We're talking about the JUCO offensive lineman out at Snow College in Utah now. You know, but he'll be in January. He's hoping. That kid's hoping that official visits will be able to have in January. So you know, whether they have a spot for him, I think depends on how they finish in the next couple of weeks. So recruiting is about to hit a whole other gear in the next few weeks.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, 1 and 3 on that are absolutely issues that are going to hurt this team a lot. I mean, those are going to be tough to overcome, especially number 1. Is there any problems LSU's always had in the past? Funding wasn't one of them. They had plenty of money to do whatever they want. They just needed to know what to do with that money. Number 2, I mean, COVID restrictions. Those are going to go away soon, right?
Well, you know, look, you know, you got a whole lot of people out there that are scared to death of vaccines, and I'm one of those people who've gotten to the point where I'm sick and tired of wearing masks and everything else. Hopefully the vaccines are very very well done, and when my age range, or if I'm, you know, when they say, okay, your group now, I'm getting in line.
Yeah, I might have to wait a while, but yeah, I'm good.
And I've never had a flu shot in my life.
Well, my thing is, once you have the vaccine, anybody who wants to protect themselves can protect themselves pretty effectively with that vaccine. You know, without that vaccine, if you want to protect yourself, you know, your options are limited. So I think once that comes out, dude, can we go back to normal life, please? Like,
Yeah.
if you're anti-vax, that's on you. You own that.
Yeah,
You're
I
responsible.
mean, look, I've read
I
a
hate
lot.
to say it, I don't care.
I've got friends with autistic children, and they read all that stuff, and they're fearful of it. I get it, but when you got Pfizer and these companies, I won't hesitate. Let's see. LSU could have won that game. Jim Milano. Yeah, I mean, look, like I was saying earlier, it's like the whole game. You're looking at it, and you're like, if you're not watching this score, you're like, boy, and that's why I say this is an indictment on A&M as much as it is LSU. I don't see how there is no way that is a top 5 ranked team in the country.
No
they're just not there, and they can talk about rust all they want. I'm sorry.
Now, you remember I hinted at this at the pregame show last
Dude,
week. Postgame show
did I
last
send you yesterday? I texted an LSU staffer yesterday morning saying I thought that this could be an upset special. I really thought LSU could do something today. Because I haven't bought an A&M
show. I mean, look, I understand LSU hadn't been great all year, but I really didn't buy into Texas A&M. They're winning their games, but you got to look at it.
I told Kenneth P. Haynes
down.
I told Kenneth P. Haynes that was my upset special, and he had something pretty salty to say about my intuition.
What about Mark Towery? If LSU finishes 4-6, what's the likelihood they'll get a bowl game since the NCAA removed the requirement of 500 record? I think 4-6 is off the table because they're only going to play 2 more games, right? Their Ole Miss game is gone.
No, Ole Miss will be on the 19th. I don't know why they haven't just gone ahead and said it, but they're going to play it.
Okay. Well, so during the same week as the SEC championship? Okay. Well, I mean, then 4-6, yeah, that gets you into a bowl game. I mean, I think 3-6 was what I was going to say, and I think that gets you into a bowl game because you're the defending champs. You have LSU across your jersey, and that's going to make money for someone. I think this year they don't care.
Yeah, and someone said, well, will they even, should they even accept it? Yeah, you accept it.
Yeah.
You get those extra practices.
You need every penny you can grab anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you play the game. And all that, you get that whole scenario again where, what are going to be the dates of these?
Bowl games?
Yeah.
I mean, December 19th through January, 15th?
Yeah, but do any of those get moved?
Yeah, I'm sure plenty of them are going to get moved. I haven't even looked at the bowl schedule.
Yeah, I don't know what.
It's going to be mess. And honestly, it's one of those years where every time you look at a schedule, who really cares anyways? Because there's like a 75% chance it's going to get moved.
Joshua Forbes, upset special, LSU downs Bama. All right.
Dude, if that happens.
Joshua, man, how many Heinekens you had?
I'll tell you, Josh Forbes. If he nails that and that happens, we're going to give him major kudos.
Josh, you come on next week.
We will let him sit here.
I might give you a couple months free to TigerBait.
No, real talk. I'll let him take my spot for the post-game show next week. How about that? If that's true, it's Wayne Clark. It's possible. It's possible. I don't think I see anything pretty. I think that game's going to look a lot better than I was thinking it would have looked 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I was scared out of my mind. How do I go on a show and predict that a team will score 70 points on LSU? Because that's literally what I saw happening with that motivation from losing last year and whatnot. I think they're playing a bit better to where it might be respectable, but only in the sense of it's not like, oh my God.
Cameron Rodgers. It's about keeping 5th and 6th round draft picks on campus. I agree.
Huge.
The flip side of that is it's, the old saying, grow the great news. You got this many starters back. Now the bad news, you got this many starters back. It's
one of those things.
Yeah, LSU needs a veteran offensive line next season, and we seem to have a problem keeping players. Look, you can look at the current offensive line. You can say, okay, there's no all SEC guys on the starting offensive line. And then you're looking at the guys that are behind them, and you're wondering if you're ever going to get anything out of Cardell Thomas. Are you ever going to get anything major out of Anthony
He dressed
Bradford?
tonight.
Are you going to get anything out of Thomas Perry? Or are you immediately saying you need these guys, Dellinger and whoever else that you get to be a part of this class? Are you basically saying these guys have to come in and they're going right over those 3?
I don't know. I think a Tristan Lee would.
Huh?
I think a Tristan Lee would.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Are we getting to the point now after 2 years of these three that I just named being in the program where you're not even talking about them?
So let me tell you,
other than wondering if they're going to be busts.
Cardell Thomas dressed for the first time all season. The first time he's dressed. His injury, from what I'm understanding, was much more devastating than we were led on to believe. It was bad. So he actually dressed for the first time this season. Could have participated, but I think he might.
Are you sure?
That's what I was seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
No, I'm talking about his injury being more devastating.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing all season. It was a lot more serious than we thought.
I hope that's the case, and he ends up being the guy that.
It could be. I think it's one of those.
Look,
deals,
it was always the thing with Cardell was you knew he had short arms. I don't know. We'll see. I hope he's the guy. I love Cardell, but and Thomas Perry. I was high on Thomas Perry. It's like, of course, he had an injury. He had a setback. Had surgery. But I mean, it would be nice if they could get at least something out of one of those three, and even better if they get two out of them. But now these guys have been in the program now for 2 years. They've got to make a move.
Let's see here. He's saying he played against South Carolina. I don't think that's right, but I'll check the participation chart. Thanks for pointing that out, David Jameson. I saw something where...
but that's one of those things. Okay, well, so what? Someone got in. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, it means he was healthy.
Yeah, but does that mean he's going to be a guy that you're talking about as a second-team All-SEC selection in a year?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's ultimately the problem is you're still talking about, you don't have the Jimmies and Joes on this offensive line. I think maybe what right tackle, what's his name? Oh, goodness, been there forever.
Deculus.
Deculus, yeah. I think Deculus might be a guy, because we saw him last year, what he did, but I think when he is the guy on this offensive line, it's one of those guys when the spotlight's on him, he doesn't perform quite as well. I think he has some issues with offensive lines. I think it's going to take a while.
Michael Ash, if the offensive line is bad, need to have more movement and run the ball to the sidelines. The problem with running the ball to the sidelines is who's the speed guy? Who is the guy that can get to the edge? Yeah, is Emory really the speed guy?
I guess.
I'm not seeing.
Who's your speed guy? Who do you think is?
I don't think there is a speed guy.
Not really any of them, no. Emory's the versatile guy. The running back has been rough, but I think that running back hadn't really had a chance because of how the offensive line's played.
I think Corey Kiner, based on what I've seen of Corey Kiner, Corey Kiner can come right in.
He might. He has been unreal.
But look, they all need an offensive line. Bottom line,
yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you see a player other than Terrace Marshall, assuming everybody can come back because COVID stuff, they'll give you an extra year, do you see anybody who should be leaving other than Terrace Marshall?
What, you talking about receivers?
Anyone on the whole team. Is there any player who, if they have the chance to come back, they shouldn't?
Here's the thing. It's like, okay, you want Liam Shanahan to return, right?
Yeah.
Well, is he having fun? How do you convince him to come back? Is he enjoying himself? Is he enjoying his stay in Baton Rouge?
I don't know.
Is Austin Deculus?
He's probably not enjoying his time on the field very much.
Right. So it's like, it's one thing to, say, oh, well, that guy's not good enough to go to the NFL. But, these guys got option to go ahead and start making a living in whatever their major is.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. At a certain point, it's got to be a business decision. Either you want to take an extra year to develop yourself and try to get to the NFL, or you don't.
Yeah, but you're talking about these guys are a certain age right now.
Yeah.
They are what they are.
Yeah.
Is Liam Shanahan going to be an NFL guy after next year?
He's certainly not after this year.
He's not going to be next year either.
I'll go ahead
and make the call for you.
Okay, well, then you have to get into the decision of, let's put it like this, they shouldn't be leaving for the NFL. If you want to get on and use your degree and do whatever you want to do in life,
and that's
on you.
I'm not crapping on Liam Shanahan, but guys are what they are by the time they're 23, 24 years old.
I get what you're saying. I totally do. I do, but I'm just saying he shouldn't declare for the NFL draft and to leave LSU for that, in my opinion.
Well, no, he's going to get his doctorate or whatever.
That's fine if you want to do that. That's going pro and something else. But I'm just talking about like literally anybody else on the team in general. You really shouldn't have anybody thinking about, oh, I'm going to leave for the NFL draft unless your name's Terrace Marshall. I mean, because that's the one guy who's been a baller no matter what.
My point. Look, it depends. A lot of factors. A lot of these kids. How far are they along towards their degree? You know, there might be some guys that saying, "Yeah, I'm a 4th round or 5th round pick, and I'm probably going to be a 4th or 5th round pick next year, and I know what the what the outlook is for this team next year. Man, I'm going to go take my chances. I'm going to go do it now."
So who's the guy you see entering the draft that might be in that spot? Because I
mean, like
really,
a guy like Austin Deculus. I mean, what motivation does he have? I don't know that Austin Deculus, if he gets, let's say he gets a 5th round grade, does he make himself get a 4th round grade by coming back another year?
Possibly.
What's the difference in money between 4th and 5th round?
Not much.
Yeah. So what is he coming back for? At best 8-4 next season. Look at the schedule, and what you have returning, and where you need new faces to come in and play. I think 8-4 is the highest end next year. This program is 2 years away from getting back to competing in the SEC West.
It certainly is some time away for sure.
John Marion, you're talking about offensive line. Hello, 3 of 5 stars are part of the national championship. Yeah, but look at the guys. You got three of them that are playing on NFL teams right now.
Well, hold up now. Worth noting, there might have been 3 who were part of it, but they didn't start. There's only 1 starter back.
Yeah, well,
that's Austin Deculus. I mean, those other guys, they played, they contributed.
Yeah,
and
Damian
we expected
Lewis,
them to step into bigger roles.
Cushenberry, Sadiq Charles. If Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State can reload it, why can't we?
That's what's got people frustrated this year.
Okay, I'll tell you what's going on with that. First of all, this state is not blessing LSU with offensive line talent every year. You had 1 offensive lineman in the state last year that LSU offered, Cedric Van Pran, and they were never in it. He went straight to Georgia. And when I say he went straight to Georgia, I spell Kirby Smart with a $, S on his last name. All right? Was never in it for him. The year before that, Cardell Thomas Perry. This year, where are the offensive linemen? There's none.
You got a junior.
Huh?
Yeah, you got one who's a year away.
No, but class of 2021.
Not 2021, no.
There's 0.
You got 2022 guys.
There's 2.
Yeah.
That we know of now. Maybe there might be 3rd. So next year 2 is a bumper crop.
But Louisiana has never produced good.
So you got to go to Michigan and get Garrett Dellinger, which everybody in the country wants. Tristan Lee. You're battling Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson. Everybody in the country wants him.
Right.
Savion Byrd. I watched film on him. I think he could be fantastic. He can go anywhere he wants. He's on LSU's board.
Yeah.
So, that's the deal. It's a tougher haul for LSU at that position. And but look, if they finish with Tristan Lee to go on with Garrett Dellinger and they get Savion Byrd, we'll see what happens with the JUCO. Then all of a sudden, boy, James Craig, you're talking about him being the recruiter of the year for LSU if he gets that offensive line.
That'd be
because
huge.
they've all come from out of state.
I will tell you this.
And then next year he's got an easier gig because he's got, dang it, Emory Jones at Catholic High, and you got my guy up at Neville. I mean, Will Campbell. I mean, you got 2 great ones. I think both of those guys are future All SEC first and second, at minimum, second team All SEC. Both those guys.
But again, it's one of those deals though. You gotta get these guys to pan out.
And then we'll see Bo Bordelon, Ben Bordelon's son at Newman. He's the same size as his dad at that age. He's light right now, about 250. But he'll be 290, 300 in a couple of years.
You got to get these guys to pan out and stay healthy on campus. That's been a huge
Lamar
problem.
Stevens brings up a good point. Who are Wisconsin's offensive linemen? And that's one of those deals where, I want to say Orgeron talked about this one time, where you charted where all the offensive linemen in the NFL came from, and it's all the Rust Belt states. Like the bigger numbers. It's the Ohio, that whole...
Them corn-fed boys, yeah. I mean...
Louisiana, it's like, if you're LSU and you lose a receiver from Louisiana, it's no sweat because the athletes grow on trees here.
Oh, John Marion with another comment. Stop with the in-state recruiting. We are a national brand. We should be able to get anyone, anywhere, just like Florida, Bama, Clemson, Ohio State. So, first off,
yeah, but that's great and all, but it's not like there's 20. It's not like there's 25 or 30 all-world offensive tackles anywhere in the country, and it don't matter if you get the number 1 guy or the number 14 guy because they're all the same. No, they're not.
Doesn't work like that.
Those guys, whereas safeties and defensive backs and receivers grow on trees.
I mean, to get what LSU wants, every single position on the offensive line has to be a top 5 guy, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much. That's what LSU has to be to compete with Bama and all these other guys. And like you just said, anyone can get them, just like Florida, Clemson, Ohio State. Yes, those teams are also going for those guys. And if they're not fed and bred in Louisiana, you don't really have an advantage. In fact, one of the reasons LSU as a program is where they are, it's not because any inherent setup with the university other than the recruiting soil. They're on some of the most fertile recruiting soil in the country, and they don't have to split it with anybody in state. That's why LSU is what they is, because it's not what the administration did to build this program. Yeah. I mean, it is nothing to do. They have done nothing exemplary over the last 20, 30 years to build a top-notch program. They got lucky being in Louisiana. We have fertile soil. Keep your boys home, and you're going to be a competitive team.
It used to be
simple.
It used to be years ago where we would talk about how you need to get to between 70 and 75% of your recruiting class to be from Louisiana because that's when you had the most success. And that's not the case anymore. And there's been a whole lot of changes in the state. It used to be where the Baton Rouge area, the offensive coordinator, whoever he was, I think Morris Watts had it. I think Jimbo Fisher had it. They were all given the Baton Rouge area to recruit because it was the easiest area to recruit because there wasn't a whole lot of talent here. Now the Baton Rouge area has more talent than New Orleans.
Yeah.
When you figure in the surrounding parishes, Lafayette, the Lafayette-Acadiana area is now starting to pick up more. But LSU is, particularly when we keep talking about linemen, offensive linemen, you've got to go out of state and you've got to be able to do it coast to coast. And I think, depending on how this finishes out, if it finishes out as good as they hope it does, I think Ed Orgeron and James Craig will have done better than Les Miles ever did as far as recruiting out-of-state offensive linemen. But got to finish up strong in the next 2 weeks. We got a lot to talk about with recruiting on that.
Well, and worth noting, Orgeron has taken national recruiting to a new level. Are they not doing better nationally than they've ever done?
Top 3 or 4, top 5, both for class 21 and 2022. But, if LSU's class finishes in the top 5, but you don't have but a couple of decent offensive linemen when you need 3 or 4, and they all need to be as good as they can be, then it's a fail. Big need position. So
you gotta recruit strong. You gotta get some Jimmies and Joes on that unit. It is 1,000% a problem. And I don't think recruiting is your issue right now. That's the good news. Recruiting is still strong. In fact, it's as strong as it's ever been. So just continue to do what you're doing.
But it's also that position, that nagging position. Aaron Johnson, just off the LSU football Tiger for a second, fellas. I really appreciate what you guys do, the recruitment information around the state of Louisiana. Your take on the games allow us to give you ours. We really appreciate and enjoy the show that you guys put together for us LSU fans.
Thank you.
Thanks for the kind words, Aaron Johnson. Much appreciated. Wayne Clark, congrats to Aranda, great win tonight. Wish we still had him, but happy for him. Who did they play?
I don't know. Let me look that up.
Wayne, give us I didn't see it.
Good for him at Baylor, though.
Yeah, Chili Vic, do they read YouTube comments? Yes, we do. Let me scroll up. Did I miss something you posted? Let me scroll up, Chili.
Well, while we're doing that, guys, I do want to say we're getting to that point where we need to throw in last call. If you want to comment, get it here in the next 5 minutes or so. We'll get to every single one of them. But I do want to take a second to thank one of our sponsors tonight. I want to thank Jordan Spector of Spector Sports Art. Of course, he has made his incredible artwork. This is the perfection. This is Coach O Joe Burrow on the stage, all the cool details, all the cool moments embodied here. He's got a bundle for sale featuring this one. I'm about to comment the link actually in the comments here as TigerBait, where there it is. I just put the link there where you can buy this one and you can get the classic, the one that came out right after the national championship, Burrow smoking the cigar, which is just, I mean, how great is that, man? That should be in everyone's man cave.
I love that one.
Just obligatory. You know, greatest moment in human history, in my opinion.
15-0.
Yeah, I mean, just the Heisman Trophy. You can't do it, you won't do it. I mean, one of the greatest stories. Me and Mark Scarborough were right behind that curtain, by the way, just in case y'all were wondering, just on the other side. We were in that press conference.
Yeah, I was on the other side of that curtain with the red ass because everything they told us that we were going to get as far as post-game interviews didn't come to fruition.
Nothing.
That college football, now you got me going. That college football playoff committee and their decision to run the whole shebang on their own, bringing their own crew and not use the Sugar Bowl people that have been doing it for years was just terrible.
All right, it went great until after the game when you got to deal with players celebrating and stuff.
No, one elevator works.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a mile long of media trying to get down the field, and we were being held up because the great Jim Brown had to go down the elevator by himself.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, yeah. So anyways, look, thank you, Jordan Spector, for painting the great moments. Thank you for Mike for experiencing the not so great moments of that game. Press facilities at the Sugar Bowl also were very lacking. It was so cold up there, wasn't it? But anyways.
Well, yeah, but I like it cold.
Dude,
and
that was
sport coat
frozen though, man. I mean, my goodness.
I like it cold.
They also had us.
Can't you feel it in here? It's about 68 right now.
They had some pretty, to increase media capacity, they had to get some pretty crafty with how they squeezed this all in there. Boy, we were shoulder to shoulder.
Can you imagine it now?
With COVID? No.
As bad as that place? Okay, yeah. Where are the jet sweeps, middle screen, slip screens on first and second down to help the offensive line? The coach has checked into a quarterback run in the red zone against a three-man front zone. Huh. Well, how much do they have installed for two freshman quarterbacks that they're comfortable with?
That's what you got to realize. You're limited.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to throw too much at true freshmen like that. With Miles Brennan in there, I'd say there's no excuse to be not running stuff like that. Hey, here's, by the way, the score was Baylor 32, Kansas State 31. Wow.
Nice.
Tough win. Good for you. Good for you.
Nice.
Leon, this is a tough one. Looks like McGee, but ends with an N. So I don't know.
Leon, type out how to phonetically spell it. I'm curious.
Yeah, we try to do a good job with that here. Mike's a little better at me than that. What's your take on the defensive line guy entering the transfer portal from Alabama, the one from Louisiana? What was his name? The kid with the big head from
Ishmael Shopshire.
Ishmael Shopshire. He ain't coming.
If he wants to walk on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think LSU really wants him very much.
I think unless he just totally goes on a super diet and becomes a workout freak, and I think his only hope as far as major college football is to be an offensive lineman.
And look, it's Nietzsche. That's interesting.
All right,
okay,
good.
I probably wouldn't have guessed that. All right, Wayne Clark, get the ball to Gilbert, please. They tried to tonight. Finley had the most accuracy issues he's had all year. I think one thing that I've been, I don't want to say I'm critical of because he's a freshman and you should have issues like this, but like his technique is still sloppy. He's a very young and very big kid, and he has things where his footing is inaccurate, and he kind of leans back and arm throws the ball. And that with the pass rush tonight, it got in his head. His accuracy was rattled. There's a reason they teach you to throw with polished motions, and I think it hurt him tonight. They tried to get the ball to Gilbert, and I remember a lot of plays where Gilbert is, trying to catch the ball, and it's just not where it needs to be.
Y'all do us a favor. Please like and share this on your Facebook. Really want to get the word out on our post-game shows. A lot of y'all do that for us. Much appreciated. If you enjoy the show and the content we put out, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, the like button always helps us with the algorithms on both platforms. We're streaming to Facebook and YouTube. And also, we very much appreciate all your comments. Share it on your Facebook wall. And go to TigerBait.com. We've got all our post-game coverage. When we get done here, I'll have Orgeron's post-game video up. I'll have Jimbo Fisher's. I'll have LSU players. We've got Brian Lazar's analysis. He's got a really, pretty good analysis. Preston's post-game story is live on the front page, and then he's got some more to add to it. Once we get done here, he'll add quotes to it. And we want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait.com. Also on the front page of TigerBait, no better Christmas gift than an annual subscription to TigerBait.com. The digital gift cards, you can see it right on the front page. Greatest Christmas gift ever for the LSU fans in your life. Give it to yourself or give it to any LSU fan. They'll use it every day of the year. They'll get text alerts, our newsletters, all our premium recruiting content. Of course, we cover all football, basketball, baseball, the works for you at TigerBait.com. We want to have you. And if you've never tried us, $1 gets you on the site for 1 week. We'll think you'll enjoy the website. There's Esteban with a Go Tigers. He's one of our premium subscribers.
He transitioned. He used to be on Facebook all the time. He's moved his life on over to YouTube with us.
Yeah, Renee Toops. Nussmeier has more upside than either Finley or Johnson. And look, I had that discussion with somebody earlier, Renee. I think that is a spot where, look, Miles Brennan, of course, we'll see if he ends up having surgery. And if he has to have the surgery, I haven't even looked at when Easter falls to maybe try and figure out when spring practices might end up being. But I think you've got to open up wide open, and you've got to go in there and say, I don't have a leader. There's no one who's a starter. There's no one who's got a lead for the position, and it's at every offensive line spot, every quarterbacks, running backs, the works. I think you just got to let it go and I think there's going to be some new coaches on the staff on both sides of the football, position coaches. I just think just normal attrition is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with the USA Today investigation. There's going to be some movement in the offseason either way. So, I agree with the Renee. Nussmeier has a lot of potential upside. And then right behind him, you got Walker Howard. I looked at the
he's going to be good.
I'm looking at the brackets for the playoffs. I don't see where anybody's going to beat STM for a state title. Mm-hmm. I think Walker Howard will have 2 state championships at STM before in his 2 years as a starter. Kenneth Haynes, another really good show. The new studio is awesome. Thank you, Kenny. Of course, we appreciate Kenny being a sponsor of us every week, and fantastic guy. Go check him out in the description box. Hit the link. If you have any legal needs in North Louisiana, he's your guy. And I think I'm going to wrap it up. We had a great show tonight. We went exactly an hour. And much thanks to y'all for participating. And we'll be back here next week after the Alabama game. And you remember who it was LSU's going to upset?
Oh, goodness.
I'll go back and find him. He'll be the hero if he's right next week.
Josh Forbes.
Yeah, so. All right, guys. Much appreciated. Good night. And we'll see y'all next week. And go to TigerBait.com. We want you as a subscriber.